The secret behind pricing your home in Richmond and why it works better than testing the market. Here's the truth. Testing the market is one of the most expensive pricing strategies a seller can use in Richmond. It feels safe. It feels cautious. It feels like you're protecting your value. But in reality, it often does the exact opposite. It quietly costs sellers time, leverage, and thousands of dollars they never get back. Today, I'm breaking down the real pricing strategy that actually works in Richmond, why it works psychologically, how buyers really respond to price, and why the first 2 weeks matter more than the next 2 months combined. Let's start with what testing the market really means. Testing the market usually looks like this. A seller lists higher than what the data supports, just to see what happens. If the home doesn't sell, they plan to reduce later. And on paper, that sounds harmless. In real life, buyers see something very different. Buyers don't see a confident price. They see a home that missed the mark. And here's the core problem. The moment your home goes live, that is, when it gets the most attention it will ever receive, the first 7 to 10 days are peak demand. That's when every serious buyer, every agent with a buyer, every saved search alert hits all at once. Now, if your price misses during that window, you don't get a second first impression. Now let's talk about buyer psychology, because this is where pricing really lives. Buyers shop in brackets. They don't type one exact number. They search in ranges, 450 to 500. 500 to 550, 600 to 7. When you price even slightly above the right bracket, you literally disappear from the buyers who would have paid full value for your home. You're not rejected, you're just never seen. That is why the strongest strategy is not pricing high and hoping. It's pricing on the bridge between brackets where you capture buyers from both sides. That's the secret strategy most sellers never get shown. For example, if the data supports a home between 475 and 500, the strong position is not 509 because it sounds aspirational. The strongest position is right on the bridge where 500 buyers still see it and 475 buyers can stretch. That's how momentum is created. Now let's talk about momentum, because momentum is what actually drives your final sales price, not your list price. The goal of strategic pricing is not to get lucky, it's to create pressure. Pressure creates showings. Showings create competition. Competition creates leverage, and leverage is what drives price upward safely. Testing the market shuts that chain reaction down before it even starts. Here's what usually happens with a test price. The home launches high. The serious buyers pass. Showings are light, weeks go by, then the seller reduces the price. But now the home has history. Buyers start asking, what's wrong with it? They assume something failed. And when you finally hit the correct price, the urgency is gone. You don't get rewarded for correcting late, you get discounted. Now let me show you how real strategy works. When a home is priced correctly from day one, not low, not reckless, but strategically aligned with the market, buyers feel safe making a move. They don't feel tricked. They don't feel like they're chasing something unrealistic. They feel like they found something that makes sense. And when multiple buyers feel that at the same time, you create one of the most powerful forces in real estate, controlled competition. Here's a real example. 2 similar homes, same neighborhood, same size, same style. One launched 10,000 above market, one launched exactly where the data said it should. A high-priced home sat. The correctly priced home had 8 showings in the first 3 days and 2 strong offers. It sold over asking. Same product, different psychology. Now let's talk about the phrase sellers love to use, I can always come down. And that sounds logical, but the market doesn't work that way emotionally. Buyers don't come back excited when a price drops. They come back skeptical, and they never pay yesterday's number. Price reductions don't reset demand. They confirm hesitation. Now, let's talk about what actually determines your strongest list price. It's not one comp. It's not an online estimate. It's not what your neighbor listed for. It's the pattern of buyer behavior over the last 90 days in your exact segment of the market. That means condition. That means layout. That means updates. That means location. And that means competition. Two homes can be on the same street and live in completely different pricing worlds depending on presentation and timing. And that brings us to the second half of the secret strategy. Price and presentation are married to each other. A fantastic price with poor presentation still struggles. A great presentation with unrealistic pricing still stalls. They have to work together. Fresh paint, proper lighting, clean lines, well-defined rooms. These aren't just visual upgrades. They are pricing amplifiers. They justify your position in the mind of the buyer. Think of it this way. Buyers decide if a home is worth it emotionally in the first 10 seconds. Then they justify that feeling with numbers. Your job as a seller is not just to be fair, it's to be undeniable. Now let's talk about fear, because most test pricing comes from fear. Fear of leaving money on the table, fear of being taken advantage of, fear of moving too fast. But here's the twist. The sellers who move the fastest almost always walk away with the strongest results. Because speed creates confidence, and confidence attracts buyers. Now I've watched this play out hundreds of times. The homes that linger don't usually sell for more. They just experience a longer stress at a lower outcome. If this is helpful so far and you want more no-fluff tips on selling smarter in Richmond, hit subscribe right now. I post new videos every week designed to save sellers time, money, and stress. Now, let's clear up a dangerous myth. Strategic pricing is not the same as underpricing. Underpricing is reckless. Strategic pricing is surgical. It's chosen based on buyer behavior, not seller hope. It's designed to pull the market towards you, not make you chase it. Now let's talk about what happens when pricing is done correctly in today's Richmond market. Days on market are higher than last year. Buyers are pickier, but well-priced, well-presented homes are still selling faster and closer to asking than anything else on the market. That tells us something important. The market isn't slow. The market is selective. And sellers who price with strategy still get rewarded. Now, I once had a seller tell me, "We want to price high, but sell fast." I said, "So you want filet mignon result with fast food behavior?" They laughed. Then we repriced properly. It's sold in 4 days. Now let's wrap this into one simple framework. If you want maximum results, pricing must do 3 things. It must attract attention. It must feel fair to buyers, and it must create urgency. Testing the market does none of those. Strategic pricing does all 3. So now let's recap clearly. Testing the market feels safe, but it kills momentum. The first 10 days are the most powerful days of your listing. Buyers shop in price brackets, not exact numbers. Pricing on the bridge captures more demand. Competition creates leverage. Leverage creates stronger outcomes. Price and presentation must work together, and confidence in pricing drives confidence in buyers. Now, if you're thinking about selling and want to know what your true strategic pricing window looks like, not an estimate, not a guess, but a real plan, let's talk. I'll show you exactly where your home fits in today's Richmond market and how to price it to win, not wonder. Don't miss next week's video, why some Richmond homes sit for 60 days and how to make sure yours isn't one of them. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And in the comments, tell me, what scares you most about pricing your home? The risk of pricing too high or the fear of pricing too low? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.